Good morning, I'm Leigh Sullivan from the University of Canberra and I'm here discussing the week in politics with Michelle Grattan. Hi Michelle.
Hi Leigh.
Michelle, Senator Cory Bernardi has come out recently and announced that he'll wind up the Australian Conservatives. What will this mean for the future of the Senate?
It's uncertain what he himself is going to do. The Australian Conservatives really never took off in a big way. It looked as though they might get a bit of traction while the Liberal Party was in crisis, but especially after Scott Morrison took over, they really didn't seem to have a hope electorally, so it's sensible enough to wind them up. But Cory Bernardi, there's been speculation that he might seek to rejoin the Liberals from whom he defected in 2017. Some Liberals are still very angry that he did defect, so that wouldn't necessarily be popular in the party. He's also left open the possibility he might leave the Senate entirely, and if he did so, then his place would be taken by a Liberal because he was a Liberal when he was elected, and that's how the system works.
On another issue, the government's saying in terms of the income tax cuts that they're not interested in negotiating them with the crossbench, that they're to be passed in full. How does this leave Labor on this issue?
Labor's somewhat conflicted. There are people who think it would be sensible, pragmatic to just not make a fuss about this, pass the whole package, move on. That there's a strong argument, obviously, that the government has a mandate for this package because this promise was central to its election campaign. It didn't really have many other policies. So there are the pragmatists who are saying that, but also there are others in the party who say that since Labor opposed the later stages of the tax cuts, especially the third stage in the election campaign, it should stick to that and try and block them. So that debate is still going on in the Labor Party. We've seen people come out on each side really of the debate, and I think that it will continue for a few days. There's a meeting of the front bench early in the week, and of course Parliament resumes the week after next, and the front bench will take a recommendation to the caucus as to what the party should do.
In terms of Medivacs and refugees, a federal court has ruled that doctors can determine whether or not refugees need medical treatment in Australia based solely on medical records alone, without the need for consultation. This really has reignited the debate on the Medivac bill, with Peter Dutton saying that Labor needs to clean up this mess, their mess that they seem to, he considers they've caused. Is a change in these laws likely?
Certainly the government will try to get a change. It's wanted this bill repealed from the start. It didn't want it in the first place, of course. And now with this court decision, the government has argued that the bill has become even looser. It's easier for people to get here, get through the system. It does liberalise application of the new regime a little bit, I think, not nearly as much as the government is claiming. Now, its chances of getting any change depend, I think, on the attitude of Jackie Lambie, who of course is coming back into the Senate after a break. She had to leave because of the citizenship crisis, but she was re-elected at the election. And she's staying quite silent about her position on anything until Parliament does start up. But the government would need 4 out of the 6 crossbenchers in the Senate to change the legislation or to repeal the legislation, and Centre Alliance have said they won't play ball, and of course Labor is not willing to give any ground. So it really does come down to whether Jackie Lambie is willing to change or willing to agree to change, and we'll not know that for a little while.
Yeah, and on another issue, the deputy to the controversial construction union leader, John Setka, has resigned, citing irreconcilable differences, and also implying some problems with the behaviour of the leader of that union. This is a matter that's continuing to split the Labor movement, with the left digging in and John Setka digging in. Is there any resolution in sight to this issue?
Well, no, there's not. John Setka is up in court next week over a charge of harassing, or charges of harassing a woman, and so that'll be the next significant development. But he's not giving any ground in terms of his union position. The Labor Party is expected to expel him early in July, but the ACTU really has a problem with him, because Sally McManus, the ACTU secretary, has said he should resign his union position. A number of unions stand behind her on this issue, but you do get these few left unions who are being very tough. The construction union itself is the toughest of the tough on almost everything, and certainly a key official. And so at the moment the situation is at an impasse, but the authority of the ACTU and Sally McManus is very much on the line on this issue.
Well, the run-up to the first sitting day of this Parliament has got a lot of issues that are of special interest, Michelle, and I look forward to our discussion of these next week. Thank you.
Thanks very much.